Good morning, everyone. I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and we are back for another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. So, you all know I like to dive right in. First thing I want to talk about this morning are work permits. So, work permits are EADs, employment authorization documents. They are still taking quite a while for USCIS to process and approve and then print the cards and then get the cards out to people. So because of that, some of them were automatically extended from the date of filing for up to 180 days. USCIS has a rethought about that. And so now they are automatically extended for 540 days. Yes, 540. So automatic extensions up to 540 days. So as an employer and an employee, that's great news. As an employer, you want to make sure that you have some sort of system in place where you are keeping track of the 540 days so that you can revalidate and re-I-9 people and make sure that they ultimately got their physical card. So you want to make sure that you are staying in compliance with the I-9 rules. So just keep that in mind. If that's something you need help with, feel free to reach out to us. But the good news is that you've got 540 days, but you also want to make sure that you are keeping track of those 540 days when those 540 days end as the employer. So the next thing I want to talk about is consular non-reviewability. So that is really summed up by saying that the federal courts cannot at this point review what has happened in a consulate. So if a visa application is denied, currently the federal court cannot really review that. And so if you've ever been denied a visa at a consulate and then you've tried to reach out to the consulate to find out what happened and why, it's difficult. It is difficult at best to reach someone and find out what happened. Was there more information that you needed? Did you have questions about something? Did you not believe what the individual was saying in front of you? So it is very, very difficult to get any sort of feedback from the consulate when a visa is denied. So there is a court case that has been winding its way through the court system. It is currently at the Supreme Court, and it is looking at the doctrine of consular non-reviewability. So it's looking at whether or not the federal courts actually can look at and review what the consular officers are doing at the consulates. The argument that the federal courts can look at it is essentially people are saying that the longstanding federal law under the Administrative Procedures Act allows for federal courts to look at the actions taken by federal employees at the consulates. So I will not bore you with a treatise on the Administrative Procedure Act. Just know that there is a case currently at the Supreme Court where they are looking at consular non-reviewability. So I will keep you updated on that, and we'll see what comes out of that. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the medical reports. So when someone applies for a green card to live in the United States indefinitely, whether they are inside the United States making that application or outside of the United States making that application, they must have a medical exam done. The report of that medical exam goes either to USCIS, the Immigration Service, or it goes to the consulate. As we know, as my clients know, the green cards are taking a little bit longer than any of us would appreciate, including USCIS. They are backlogged. So usually the medical reports have an expiration date, after which USCIS will not use them anymore. And we were running into situations where, because cases were pending for so long, the USCIS was then issuing requests for further evidence just for a new medical, an updated medical. So they have recently come out and said that any medical exam signed by a civil surgeon on or after November 1st of last year, so on or after November 1st of 2023, does not expire. So that is excellent news. They don't expire anymore. So now we don't have to kind of guess whether or not we think the application will come in under the timeline of the validity of the medical exam. And do we file the initial application with the medical exam? Do we not file it? So that is a burden that has been lifted, which is quite nice. So again, medical exams signed on or after November 1st of 2023 are valid indefinitely and do not expire. So keep that in mind. I know that 420 is coming up. I know that many states have legalized some use of marijuana. Please know the federal government has not. The federal government has not said that the use of marijuana is okay. So if you are an immigrant, my advice to you, or if you want to become an immigrant, if you want to come to the States, if you're in the States, if you are applying for a non-immigrant visa or a visa or a green card, my advice to you is to stay away from marijuana in all its various forms and derivatives. The Immigration Service does not like it. It leads you down a very windy road that nobody ever likes to go down. So just remember that under federal law, the use and possession is not okay. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It does not matter what your individual state has said about the possession and use of marijuana. So just keep that in mind. Just bring that up because people follow 440, they're 440 advocates. But when it comes to being an immigrant to this country and marijuana, the two do not have a good relationship with one another at this point in time. The last thing I want to talk about is another national interest waiver tip. As we know, the national interest waiver is a way to obtain a green card. It is a second preference category green card. And it says that you have a master's degree or higher. If not, then you must show that you have extraordinary ability. That your proposed endeavor, meaning the job that you are telling the Immigration Service that you want to hold once your green card is issued, has both substantial merit and national importance to the United States, that you as an individual are well positioned to advance this proposed endeavor, that you have the capability to continue in your proposed endeavor if the green card is issued, and on balance, that the United States should waive the normal EB-2 requirements. Waiving the requirements would be waiving the requirement of having a sponsor, an employer who is sponsoring the application, as well waiving the labor certification application, which requires the employer to advertise for U.S. workers. So the tip that I have today: STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. USCIS loves STEM, right? And that's great. Just because you are in a STEM field does not mean that you will automatically be approved for a national interest waiver. Okay, you still have to show how you meet the requirements. You still have to show that your proposed endeavor has both substantial merit and national importance, that you are well positioned and capable to advance your proposed endeavor, and that on balance, it's beneficial to the United States, right? So just because you are, let's say you're here as a student, an international student, just because you're studying in a STEM field does not mean that you are automatically going to get approved for a national interest waiver. We still have to look at the requirements for a national interest waiver and see how you meet those requirements. That said, the Immigration Service does like STEM. They have, they are working hard to understand more of these STEM applications that they are getting. I am seeing that. But just know that just because you are studying in a STEM field, or just know that because you're working in a STEM field, does not mean that you are automatically going to get approved for your national interest waiver application. So that is what I have this Monday morning. If y'all have any questions about your current cases, you are looking to hire somebody, you're not quite sure what to do, you're looking to expand your business into the United States, you're not quite sure where to start from an immigration perspective, feel free to reach out to the office and we're happy to have a consult and see how we can help you. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday and a great rest of the week.